I'm here today with Ryan David, who is the writer-director of a film at Cinequest 2022. Going to be live in San Jose with the film Futra Days. It's kind of a sci-fi mind bender. So welcome, Ryan. Thank you so much for
Hi.
joining me.
Yeah.
From across last week I did an interview with someone in Australia, and this
Oh,
week
wow.
Portugal. So
Yeah.
fascinating stuff here. So let us start with Future Days. I'm calling it a bit of a mind bender, psychological, philosophical, science fiction. I'm getting a little quantum physics uh, out of
Yeah.
it.
It's a genre. It's a genre all into itself, in
Okay,
its
well,
own way.
I'll let
Yeah.
you describe it first. So let's talk a little bit about what the film is actually about.
Yeah. The film's about. Well, I kind of came up with the idea. I spent 2 weeks kind of just like mulling over an old project, and I kind of had some old ideas, and I don't know. I actually had taken, crazily enough, I'd taken some magic mushrooms and walked down Mulholland Drive. I was kind of doing this hike. And I just thought about if there's a version of me on either side of the Studio City and the other side. And so I just kind of like took that as a running thing. I just kind of wrote the script in 2 weeks. And the film's really about kind of like a man's search for meaning. It kind of has, uh, it's about kind of relinquishing grand ambitions. And so, yeah, I just kind of took that and wanted to put it in this genre speculative fiction thing. I think speculative fiction and science fiction is a really great way to kind of explore heady philosophical heady philosophical stuff, and also I don't know, some like religious themes and spirituality. So I kind of put it all into this one thing and blended it up, and as I said, it kind of becomes a genre unto itself.
I like going with speculative because I'm
Yeah,
someone who would like to kind of break down and stop calling things science fiction. Like in Shakespeare's day, it was all just romance. If it wasn't,
yeah, exactly.
if it wasn't
Yeah,
comedy or tragedy, it was romance, and it just
yeah,
meant anything that could possibly happen. And this is one that crosses a lot of things. Although, like I say, it's a script about ideas. It's not necessarily a high tech, though you have effects and so forth. But
yeah,
it's not about high technology. Your protagonist is only going 3 years into his future.
yeah. Correct. Yeah. I think the reason why I like the speculative as well is I don't know, so much of science fiction nowadays is always like mechanical based or based upon like things about how the future is going to turn out, or, warning signs. And I don't know, I studied neuroscience and cognitive psychology in college. And so I'm much more interested in speculative stories and science fiction that deals with like what would actually happen to the unconscious of people. We spend so much time on the material, on the conscious side of things, that I wanted to kind of really explore the unconscious. And I'm a big fan of William Blake. Just read a book about him actually, and he has this book or a poem called "The Mental Traveler." And also, I spent a lot of time studying Carl Jung. So I was really more interested in kind of the science fiction, the heady ideas, exploring more of things we go to deal with on a day to day life and how those things affect us, instead of just kind of like plot points or pushing things along for like action sequences or whatnot. While those are great, they have less impact on our lives, and I wanted to have something stay with us a little bit. Something when you left the theater, not only were you trying to put the piece together and kind of be an active participant in the movie, but it stays with you a little bit after, and not just we all watch Netflix and it's the best thing we've ever seen, but then like a week later we all forget what we just saw. So I was trying to kind of have something that has a little more resonance.
That is probably the thing my wife and I have mentioned the most in the last few months is like, did we watch that?
Yeah,
I forgot. What were we
yeah.
talking about?
I know, and there's so much good stuff now too, and like I always try to keep up with a lot of stuff too. But even it's like everything, even it's in this overload of content thing. I mean, for better or worse, I really try to make something that stands out from the even if it's high prestige stuff. It all still kind of feels like you kind of know what you're gonna get, and so I really try to be original and creative with this one.
Well, now that you said it the way in the overload of stuff, I think I would ask again, our main time traveler. It's funny because I was thinking of this being very LA, a very LA vibe in the terms of like it's almost the latest psychological fad. Like, ask this is how you free yourself. Travel forward in time three
Yeah,
years, but that it's almost like this. I'm blanking on the protagonist's name. That it's like he doesn't have time to figure out should you invest time in certain things. That's why he wants to go
Yes.
meets a girl,
Yeah.
a woman in a
That's
dress
exactly
shop.
right. Yeah, it's like the life. It's like the technology thing of the life hack, right? We're all like, especially in San Francisco, it's all that stuff. And yeah, I think it's like I think that's the thing with in modern society, especially the younger kids now, is if you can't click it on your phone, you don't want to invest in it as much or spend as much time investigating yourself. So yeah, it's kind of applying to play into that. I mean, I really love the movie Frank Capra's "It's a Wonderful Life." I'm not saying that this is anything like that, but I think a lot of the being able to see different versions of your future and kind of the takeaway from that, I think has a lot of resonance of that film.
Yeah, it's not an unfair comparison. I mean, it's almost like you kind of took It's a Wonderful Life, twisted it inside out a little bit, and there's something early on, a reference to that perception or reality is just our perception. And,
Yeah.
so do you believe that? Are we all just in a simulation anyway?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's simulation. I think, how you see is what you see, right? So it's like if you're a depressed person, you're a pessimistic person, the world's gonna seem all dark and twisted. And if you're optimistic, you're gonna, you'll see the beauty everywhere. So I don't think necessarily it's a simulation. I think it's a game of which if you can, I think that's also the point of what I was trying to say in the movie too, is like if you can change your frame of reference in your own head, you can change how the simulation game is being, coming through you and how you perceive it. And so while not a simulation, if you look at your life a little bit more from these lenses and how you want to look at life, it gives you back. If you see things negatively, you'll see negative stuff. If you look at things positively, you'll see the good things. So it's about reframing things.
And you've also kind of said it somewhat in the entertainment industry. Again, there's the music and songs kind of run through as well, which is math. Music is math, and then math is
Yeah,
part of your time travel technique. So, uh,
yeah.
what would be the significance of that of setting it in an art?
Well, I think that's what's so cool. I mean, I think I was just listening to a podcast the other day, and just people think that the reason why the Asians are so good at math is because they train in it, but really it's because they spend so much time practicing music, and like the fact that we've gotten rid of music programs and arts programs in schools is because we think that it's going to help our test scores. It's just really funny because you can learn a lot about math through music. And so
Yeah.
those two go hand in hand, and it's the feminine and the masculine. And I think when we forget those things, we don't really see the full broad scope of the total picture.
Yeah, yeah, and you are also, as we were just talking, you are in Portugal, but you spend half your time in Los Angeles. Is there a great mindset help to have kind of get out of the scene here from time to
Yeah, I
time?
think I think that's kind of the main reason why, as an artist, I've kind of come here is because when you're in LA all the time and you're in the business and the newsletters and everybody's kind of on the track chasing the on the what's it called? Those when they chase the dogs, the greyhound tracks,
Hmm.
and every year someone else catches whatever it is, the rabbit that they're chasing, and it's like, oh, it's not me this year or next year. So it's nice to be an artist and get to come back and like have your own reflections about what you want to create instead of always trying to chase the fad, because it's not like music where you can create a song whenever it's a hit that day. Making movies and TV is such a long process that by the time the widget by the time you do what they ask you to build, the trend is over, and so it's really hard to keep up with things. Whereas when you're away, you kind of keep your blinders on. So it's kind of like Wile E. Coyote back at Acme trying to catch the Roadrunner.
And I do want to say, because this film is again a lot more idea based and emotion and really rooted in emotion and not technology, you have very long takes. What was your rehearsal process like when you've got actors that the scenes are very long and very dialogue intense?
Yeah, and but the cool thing was we kind of let them rip a little bit. I mean, what we did was the actors came in the morning of, and if they weren't necessarily feeling they could like relate to the scenes and stuff, my editor always works on set with me, so he was there, and while I was kind of handling other things, they would kind of workshop the scenes with him, and as long as he was okay with like kind of where they wanted to improv it, we let them go. And I shot with two cameras, which really helps, obviously, with the long takes. So shooting two cameras allowed for all the continuity issues. We just let them go. And so we'd have some takes for 15, 20-minute long conversations, and then our job is back in the editing room was to kind of pare back to what the original script was. But it was really cool because the actors really got to get into the characters, because these conversations weren't, 3-minute conversations and then we're changing the lights or changing the camera and then switching over. This was like real deal emotions and real deal performances. So it was really cool to kind of let them go and to see that process unfold.
Great. Yeah. It is a very deep, thoughtful science fiction film. It will be at Cinequest Live in the last 2 weeks of August. Are you coming out to San Jose for that?
I am. I'm excited to be there.
Excellent. So thank you so much, Ryan, for taking this time.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
you watching on your computer or device or whatever it may be is, please take a look at this and other films at Cinequest 2022 in August in San Jose. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any Fanboy Planet video content. And remember, use your powers for good.